Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Welcome to the grand finale of Lessons in Marketing Excellence. Absolutely stoked to be here this evening. In its 7th season now, this Inter-B School Marketing and Business competition has given students from India's premier B schools an opportunity to stretch their imagination and define their future. After over 4 months of mind-boggling competition, constant criticism, ideating innovative solutions for the brands on board this year, we finally got our craziest 3 teams who are evidently the best marketing talent this country has to offer. But before they take center stage here today, I'd like to invite on stage the managing editor of CNBC TV 18, Shireen Ban. Let's have a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Ankit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much to all of you for joining us here as we celebrate the 7th edition of the Lessons in Marketing Excellence, and we celebrate young entrepreneurs and young marketing minds like yourself. Many thanks to the jury and to HUL for continuing this association with CNBC TV 18. It truly means the world to us. We're going to be talking about and listening to your presentations on Make in India. And at CNBC TV 18, we've actually been doing a lot of work around Make in India. Now, if you look at it narrowly, Make in India is much more than just a marketing tagline or a marketing proposition. Make in India is actually a strategic vision. It's a strategic statement. And I say that because if you talk to different companies, you can see what Make in India actually means to them when they talk about strategy going forward. For some, Make in India means making in India for the world. For others, Make in India means making in India for India. I think what is important is not just to focus on manufacturing in India or manufacturing at low cost in India, leveraging the low cost arbitrage, because at the end of the day, as you become globally competitive, price is not going to be the big play. It is going to be about building brands that are globally relevant and globally competitive. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, Shireen, for that opening address. A good marketer always knows the value of building relationships and business partnerships to take the product to its desired outcome. I'd now like to invite on stage a man who's further funneled the Lime Dream and has helped it achieve its laurels. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Managing Director and CEO of Hindustan Unilever, Sanjeev Mehta.
Lime Season 7. It's been a great partnership between CNBC TV 18 and HUL. The genesis of Lime started by us asking ourselves, how do we get some of the best creative minds in the country and make them look at some serious issues confronting the country? And over the 7 seasons that we have had, some great minds have put their effort, their creativity, and looked at some real serious problems. Now, Make in India is very relevant from the country perspective, very relevant if we understand that India has to create 1 million jobs, if we have to really reap the benefit of the demographic dividend. Otherwise, if we fail to do that, the dividend could well become a drag. And certainly manufacturing is going to play a very important part in this journey. We believe Make in India could transform India. And there couldn't have been a more relevant topic today. So I would wish all the contestants, give it your best, and may the best team win. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.
Now, each year, the Lime team prides itself on bringing to fore national case studies that are not just the need of the hour, but also of immense national relevance. Ladies and gentlemen, the case study for this year takes inspiration from our very own Prime Minister's vision for the nation. Let's take a look at what the finalist teams have to do today.
The challenge for the teams is to evaluate the current strategies undertaken in the Make in India initiative, to devise plans to overcome the archaic labour laws and the lack of skilled labour, to devise plans to improve the country's infrastructure to make it more conducive for manufacturing, and to suggest an extensive promotion and communication plan along with digital amplification that will help India create a niche for itself in the global market that can maintain a high brand recall in the coming years.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is no small feat. We'll find out very shortly if the teams stand up to this challenge and how they will face it. And on the panel that is going to decide their fate is Sameer Singh, Executive Director for Personal Care from Hindustan Unilever, Priya Nair, Executive Director for Home Care from Hindustan Unilever, V. Sunil, founder and partner of Wyden & Kennedy. Sunil has worked on Incredible India and the Make in India campaign since inception. And finally, Shireen Ban. Let's give a huge round of applause to our esteemed panel of judges. It's going to be a tough evening for you, I promise you that. It's time now to introduce you to our first team for the evening. Our first finalist team today comes from an institute that has carved a niche and has its name etched in the annals of Lime. Having been crowned winners in season 4, please welcome SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. The rules are very simple. You're going to get 5 minutes to make your presentation. After which, once the time runs out, we're going to hear a buzzer, which sounds like. That's it. That signals the end of 5 minutes. That's going to be followed by a Q&A by the judges. All set?
Yep.
All right. Your time starts now.
Imagine you are in the year 2022. India has become a global manufacturing hub and achieved its Make in India vision of 25% manufacturing share in GDP and 100 million jobs. So how did we reach here? In our path to sustainable development, we adopted 3 carefully planned strategies: build, focus and sustain. The first strategy is build. The core premise here is that investors think of India as a demand hub, but not as a capable supply hub for manufacturing. Hence, building a powerful supply chain is vital to our growth. For this, we propose Project Trade, consisting of 5 actionable plans. The first plan is to track the micro, small and medium enterprises. With 45% contribution to GDP and 60 million workforce, MSMEs are the backbone of Indian economy. However, 4 out of 5 million MSMEs in the manufacturing sector are unregistered. We propose launching a registration drive which will benefit all stakeholders. The communication here will be that if MSMEs don't register, they will miss out on new business coming through the Make in India initiative.
The second plan is to relax the regulatory hassles for small companies. Higher capital investment and rising inflation warrants the need for increasing investment limits to classify MSMEs. Create a Permit Me mobile app which will act as a single window for registrations and all regulatory compliances. The third plan is to assign large enterprises as mentors who will provide quality and safety training to MSMEs, thereby achieving the vision of zero defect, zero effect. Fix a mentoring spend of 0.5% of average profit for preceding 3 years. The primary motivation for these large companies is that these trained MSMEs can become their potential suppliers. The fourth plan is to digitize interstate road checkpoints, which currently are a major bottleneck to fast movement of goods. Create a delivery documentation cloud, install electronic web bridges and prepaid cards to save time and cost. The fifth plan is to ease labor access through a Labor Management Information System or LMIS, which will efficiently map job seekers and job providers through analytics. It's high time that we provide need-based training only to bridge the gap between industry demand and human infrastructure. Pre-vocational training from class 8 onwards and recognition of star-performing trainees will help improve the negative image of vocational training. Now, to promote this MSME network, we propose organizing Bharat Udyog Month and granting Indian Manufacturing Excellence Awards.
Building a powerful supply chain will reinforce the manufacturing industry. But the fact remains that some manufacturing sectors of India are currently performing better than the others in the global market. Hence, our second strategy here is focus, where Government of India will prioritize marketing of our star sectors. These star sectors will be identified based on exports contribution to GDP and quality standards. Countries with demand for these sectors will also be identified. To market our star sectors among the target countries, government account managers will be appointed to liaison with the foreign investors. A guidebook to manufacturing in India will be developed to provide detailed sector information.
Building a powerful supply chain and focusing on star sectors will transform India into a preferred manufacturing hub. But don't we run the fear of becoming the next China? Investors moving out, low quality perception, rising wages. Hence, our third strategy is sustain, where India will establish its Made in India brand so that global consumers can relate Indian products with country of origin. Make in India initiative is being received with great aplomb from investors all over the world. So this is the perfect timing for India to strengthen the positioning of Made in India brand. For this, we need to create consumer demand for Indian products. We need to create a differentiated perception for them. Hence, we present Made in India, the promise of authentic value. After talking to multiple experts and hours of brainstorming, we came up with this carefully thought and relevant phrase for India: authentic value, which stands for authenticity reflected in the value created. To establish authentic value brand perception, what better than using our traditional Indian products like handicrafts and jewelry as springboard? Using the authentic value logo on packaging and tags will eventually extend the brand perception to all Indian-made products. Granting National Authentic Value Awards, theme-based website and search engine optimization will be used to market the authentic value brand. Hence, by building a powerful supply chain, focusing on marketing star sectors and creating a brand for itself, India can not only become a global manufacturing hub, but also achieve its goal of sustainable development. Jai Hind.
Who's the core target audience that you were trying to connect with? And if I had to ask you to say one specific insight that you think will make a difference between where we are and where we want to be, because you've got the entire TRADE right now. So if you want to tell me succinctly, what is the insight that you think will make the difference in the campaign that you're trying to build?
We are targeting investors, foreign investors. Through our first scope, that is build and focus, we are just targeting on investors and bringing FDIs. But on the third, we are indirectly targeting investors through our consumers. And the insight here is that we do not want India to become the next China. I mean, we have the cheap labor, India is known for its growth, great economic growth, but these are the factors which won't sustain in the longer run. So if we have to sustain it, we have to market our things well. Like, India has great opportunity. We have to tell the world what we are capable of, and it will only be through establishing a successful country brand, which India doesn't have right now.
The supply chain thing, it's been discussed last 2-3 years by everyone, especially after Make in India. It's a real need, right? I'm just thinking, how are you different to, let's say, 5 other people who are doing the same thing? I don't get that.
So the supply chain here is that a lot of initiatives are already being done, the corridors, the road corridors, the linking of rivers. So what you are saying is, okay, that a lot of spending has been done on training and infrastructure, but we have skipped upon few small things, like getting these MSMEs on board, updating the definition, creating a single window app. So all our ideas, if you see, they are not very huge or very grand in scale, but these are something we have somehow ignored and needs to be updated. Because if you see labor management, right now there is a lot of training and there is a lot of investment from ITIs. But right now, if you are training 5,000 welders and they are not getting job anywhere, what is the point? It's high time that we prioritize our resources and we provide need-based training only and connect them through a common management system. If you are assuming 2022, right now what China is there, we can be there. But what next? What after 2022? Is 16% achieve, 25% share our target? No, the numbers are not the target. It's building a long-term brand which will eventually create a consumer demand and ultimately force hands of investors to start producing products from India, because that is the demand all over the world.
I was just left scratching my head a bit on this authentic value proposition and putting sort of logos on wallets and stuff like that. Because, if you're targeting, say, an auto components manufacturer or a fighter jet manufacturer, like Shreen was saying, and they're choosing between whether to invest in India or Vietnam or China, how does that kind of branding help you? Because aren't you looking for other propositions for them?
So we didn't coin it randomly. Like, it is something innate quality of India. It originates, and nothing best can be the Indian handicrafts and jewelry, which can act as a springboard to establish that value. Take example of Volkswagen. We know that it has quality. Consumers relate to that quality of Volkswagen and BMW. But behind that, in their mind, they know that it's originated from Germany. Likewise, Japan stands for innovation. But India is only known for a good economic growth, a great demand hub. But its products, manufacturing in India, doesn't have that perception. Say, 10 years from now, if we reach where China is right now, the manufacturers have come to India and they started making the products. But what if when the labor rises, the labor wages rises? What happens then? So that brand value will help sticking the investors in India because there's a consumer perception of it. And authentic value in authentic is whatever the value stakeholders we are promising, that will be authentic. It's not only for quality, it's also for processes, for people, for everything that the value that eventually the stakeholders are getting. So that is the authentic value.
Please welcome the second finalist team for this evening, IIM Indore. Welcome to the podium, IIM Indore. The rules are pretty simple. 5 minutes for your presentation, at the end of which a buzzer goes off. That's going to be followed by questions by the jury members. All set? Mm-hmm. All right, take it away. Your time starts now.
With India having undergone a so-called jobless growth and wanting to reap its demographic dividend, Prime Minister Modi launched the Make in India campaign to increase manufacturing sector's contribution to GDP to 25% by year 2022. Over the past 1.5 years, government has taken up several initiatives under Make in India, especially on the branding and ease of doing business front. At this juncture, we took a step back to understand where we should channelize our efforts by creating a 2x2 matrix of labor versus capital intensive on one axis and Make in India, that is global demand, versus Make for India, that is domestic demand, on another. We arrived at 4 segments, namely the technology strengtheners who will provide access to technology by reducing reliance on imports, the future setters, which is the high-end manufacturing segment capturing maximum value, the economy builders, which will not only create jobs in India but also increase GDP through increased demand, the skill honers, which will utilize the demographic dividend to build products where India's competency lay. From the above 4 segments, we targeted the skill honers to build credibility of India in the global circles and the technology strengtheners to lay foundation stone for the future setters to flourish. 3 clear objectives emerged from the target segments. 1. Remove infrastructure bottlenecks in transportation and logistics. 2. Resolve issues related to labor. 3. Effective branding to invite global investors and MNCs. To achieve the objectives, we have come up with our solution, PRIDE, which stands for Propel Reforms and Innovate Through Digital with Engagement.
Issues related to labor and infrastructure would be catered by reforms and innovation, while engagement would handle the branding of Make in India. When we talk about labor, an important concern for India is that only 2.3% of its workforce has undergone formal vocational training. From our research on lack of skilled labor, the insights we generated are: 1. Apprehension about job guarantee, 2. Social stigma associated with vocational courses, and 3. Demand-supply mismatch in terms of both quality and quantity. To address these insights, we suggest A. Leveraging government initiatives like Aadhaar and Digital Employment Exchange. So how does this exactly work? Let's say Ram, a person working under a mechanic, can take online training course by registering with his Aadhaar. Post-training, he can appear for a test and if qualified, will be automatically registered on Digital Employment Exchange. B. Adoption of best practices such as the dual education system of Germany, online tracking of skill development activities like in Andhra Pradesh, and skill targets at district levels like in Maharashtra. With about 45 national and 100 plus state laws, labor laws is another concern for businesses in India. From our insights, we understood that small businesses avoid scaling up for fear of complying with stringent labor laws, common perception that labor laws are complex and do not provide enough flexibility for the employers. To address these insights, we proposed a unified online portal which will link all 3 stakeholders, that is the employee, the employer and the trade unions, to increase transparency, easy compliance and timely share of information. Apart from this, we suggest measures such as providing the flexibility of downsizing without prior approval in manufacturing and industrial clusters, but ensuring that employee is secured by a retrenched employee reskilling fund.
Another important reason why manufacturing has not kicked off in India is because of its logistics and transportation, which accounts for 13% of India's GDP. Some of the issues that emerge were fragmentation, high turnaround time, and poor infrastructure leading to inefficiencies. These issues can be handled through our solution, which resides on the pillar of improve, innovate, and inspire. We can improve by exploitation of the deployed IT system and enhancing the quality of rail terminals and airfare stations. Innovate by providing a one-stop online marketplace where logistic and transportation service providers can register post compliance with predefined standards. This portal will have flexibility of dynamic update on services and rates for the customer to choose from. And finally, inspire by upgrading the skills and motivating the workforce. The last part of our solution is a comprehensive branding plan which will, 1, attract global investors with state-specific campaigns and strategic advertisement at airports and international magazines. 2, promote a manufacturing mindset in India by celebrating 25th September as Make in India Day to reward the best performing business in each sector and publish success stories of MSMEs. And 3, encouraging acceptance by use of Lion logo on all made in India products which will comply with certain set of standards. And 4, sustaining the buzz created by cross-promoting along with Digital India, Startup India and carrying the Make in India logo on all government websites. Thus, our solution Pride will integrate the various initiatives in such a way that transparency and efficiency in the system is improved, which will help to gain buy-in from global investors, domestic businesses, and local workforce, and ensure the acceptance for Made in India product. With Pride, India will be able to grow from strength to strength by leveraging its IT capabilities to gear up its manufacturing sectors. Thank you.
I think you guys have defined all the challenges that India has and is in front of them, and I think you've done a good job of defining that. You've also come up with each of the spaces and what the solutions are. Tell us how it's all going to come together. So I think what's not clear is how does this come together into, what is it that you're proposing as a solution?
It's not clear what problem are you really trying to fix.
Okay.
I think that's where the confusion is, right?
Okay.
And there was like one thought, digital employment exchange. That kind of got me thinking, but you've gone all over the place,
So what we have basically done is, the way we have segmented, we've got 4 segments. We are saying that out of that, we are going to target 2 segments, and whatever we are doing, that is in terms of labor, is going to cater to one segment specifically, which is labor intensive, and it's Make in India, that is the skill owners. And the second thing is where we are going for capital intensive versus Make for India, that's the technology strengtheners. For them, we are going to build the infrastructure in terms of transportation and logistics. These are the 2 problems that we have addressed. And if you talk about digital employment exchange, so how this process exactly works is, so far unorganized sector was not being tapped because there was no unique identification. So with Aadhaar, that is resolved, 1. Second, when we make course content available online, a person who's working in an unorganized sector need not leave his job to go for training. He can do it online, having this job, because then the option of training without having apprehension about a job guarantee is reduced, because he already has a job. With training he can get a better job. So that's step 2. And step 3 is, if you qualify in the test, you're automatically registered on the digital employment exchange, which was working in isolation. Now we are going to integrate the databases so that there's a one-stop solution which the consumer is facing, and it's very easy for him to understand.
And to add to that, sir, the question that you asked, we have not used the digital employment exchange again. So what we are saying for the labor solution part, where we have given a unified online portal, in the Shram Suvidha portal itself, that part will also come. Let's say if an employer updates something, that back-end integration with the IT will be done through the digital employment exchange also, so that the employee will not have to regularly update his record. It will be directly taken from the digital employment exchange portal.
Don't you think that if you had focused just on the skills part, the labor part of it, you would probably be a lot more effective? You're then also trying to address the infrastructure challenge, the logistics challenge, and so on and so forth. I mean, in a country like ours, we actually don't have efficient labor exchanges. There is a need there. There's a pain point there. There's a deficiency that you could have addressed. Do you think you're trying to address too many things at the same time?
As of now, if you'll see, you have multiple options being given by government. Let's say one of the major issues for manufacturing to, crop up in India is the labor and skill part. So in everywhere what we are saying, government is already doing something in the digital part. Why can't we leverage that rather than starting something else? So in skill part, we are saying we are making the skill content easily available for the people. Simple to understand and easy to execute. They can, avail the courses as per their convenience. They can register so that whenever there is a job requirement, they can directly get that, rather than they should go always to the job portal and get the
the updates. And second, in labor part also we are saying, in any industry, you have three pillars, employer, employee, and the trade unions. They also create a lot of problem, and you don't have an entire visibility of what exactly is happening and who is the culprit. So sometimes, if you check, India is one of the places where the lockouts is, man days lost because of lockout is highest. That is the reason we are saying if you use this digital thing, the transparency will come somewhere and efficiency will improve.
All right, it's time now for the final team to face the heat. Please welcome finale veterans FMS Delhi. Let's hear it for the team. Heat is on local turf. The rules are very simple. 5 minutes per presentation, after which a buzzer goes off, followed by the Q&A round. All set?
Yes.
All the best.
A very good evening. Extensive secondary research and interviews with subject matter experts in Delhi and Bangalore revealed the imminent need to address key determinants responsible to ensure the success of Make in India. India offers second lowest production cost and second largest workforce globally, but contributes to just 1.7% of the global exports due to archaic labor laws and insufficient skilled labor. Proposed labor law reforms includes Industrial Disputes Act, which requires government permission for laying off where the number of industry employees are more than 100. We suggest raising the limit from 100 to 300 nationally. We have 44 central government and 100 plus state government laws. We suggest consolidation of laws and formation of a single labor authority. MSMEs are enforced by same laws as large-scale industries. We suggest separate set of simple laws governing enterprises with less than 50 workforce. Apprenticeship Act requires companies to comply with formalities that differ across states. We suggest centralized route to apprenticeship recruitment and easy penalty norms upon non-compliance. India's demographic dividend provides competitive advantage over the competing nations but is marred by certain problems. For low awareness about the initiative and low intention to participate, we suggest Navjeevan, a voluntary-led community outreach program to foster a change in the mindset and spread skill awareness. Partner with NGOs and provide mentorship to schools. For mismatch between employees' expectations and employees' training, we suggest greater involvement of private players in outcome-based curriculum setting up ATIs in collaboration with universities and private players. For limited participation of private players in financing and poor placement record, we suggest identifying potential private players and creation of database of potential expert trainers. For lack of coordination between state and centers' efforts and policies, we suggest speedy interaction of proposed LMIS, one-stop solution for trainers, recruiters and prospects, and deployment of solutions at district authorities to clarify queries by the people. Also, measures must be taken to overcome shortage of skilled labor and enhance women participation.
Infrastructure requires improvements in three key areas: logistics, transport, and manufacturing. Logistics has been plagued by high freight rates due to hidden costs, over-dependence on roads, high transit time variability, congestion, and poor tracking capabilities. For improving logistics, we propose Logistics Information Management System or LIMS, an online database of pan-India fleet operators with real-time GPS tracking facility, interface with a mobile app and a website. This will reduce cost of customer shopping, lessen transit time variability by 30%, and reduce empty backhauls, saving 40% of the logistics cost. E-tolling or e-tagging, a time-saving toll collection system to reduce congestion and improve vehicular tracking. For e-tolling, leverage the LIMS website to sanction route-specific e-tokens. For e-tagging, use RFID tags affixed on the windshields to enable automatic toll transaction. Fleet financing schemes for small, mid-sized fleet owners to upgrade them to MAVs from small trucks to SIDBI or CIA. Relax excise duty norms in line with the fuel-efficient cars to reduce emission by 70%. Transport has been marked by the underutilization of existing resources such as waterways and railways, and suboptimal linking of ports with inland transport modes leading to poor turnaround times. For this, we suggest redesigning fleet modes and targeting a modal split of 45% road, 45% railways, and 10% waterways. The 101 proposed national waterways should be categorized by fleet vessel carrying capacity. River interlinking projects should be integrated with the inland waterway transport through PPP, leveraging the 3P India initiative. Fast-track Sagamala and the NW4 and 5 projects. Increase port efficiency, modernizing existing ports by benchmarking with Rotterdam and Singapore. Explore use of dry ports and even spatial distribution of ICDs and CFSs. Promote PPP through implementation of similar pricing policies based on long-range average cost. Develop multimodal and intermodal capabilities, transshipment facilities, and improve capacity utilization of eastern ports, thus decreasing congestion, start times, emission levels, and fleet charges. Manufacturing is plagued with additional factors like weak MSMEs and lack of R&D. For this, we suggest easier access to credit for SMEs through SIDBI, Mudra Bank, and CIS Online Finance Facilitation Center, incentivizing MSMEs to produce R&D initiatives, also developing better bankruptcy provisions and sick enterprise rehabilitation. Cross-selling of MSME manufacturing products through MFIs for expansion in rural market.
We also propose an extensive promotional model for Make in India. Our big idea is join the transformation, which suggests that India is transforming and sends an invite to explore opportunities to manufacture in India. We suggest a 3-tier approach: preach, partner and promote. Preach to private players about transforming India and the possibilities for them. Partner with right agencies and governments to reach to the right audiences. Promote Make in India initiative and brand India as a whole. For preach, we suggest organizing meets with top CEOs around the world, prominent display of Make in India in sector-specific exports trade fairs, transformation reports in sector-specific trade journals. For partner, we suggest collaboration with governments to develop best practices for R&D and promote initiatives like Japan Plus. Reach out to the SMEs in the world with high-tech solutions to manufacture in India. Encourage advocacy in key addresses and forums by business leaders. Funded research and case competitions in management and research institutes. For promote, we suggest out-of-home advertising at big domestic and foreign exports to cater to business customers, with digital boards showing impact of Make in India, presence on new channels and television, utilizing social media tools for conducting opinion polls and digital suggestion box, along with the Make in India application. Thank you.
I think there is an idea there in the way you're saying you'll promote it, but all I get is the how, you know, the domestic airport and the CEO conferences. My question is the what. What is your campaign idea? Because if you have a promotion strategy, you need to have a campaign idea or a thought, a single-minded thought, which will affect your target audience to buy your product, which is Make in India.
So the problem that we are specifically catering to here is providing a conducive environment for the manufacturing to happen. Even if investors decide they show interest, we should be able to sustain it in the long term. One of the key drivers here is involvement of all key stakeholders, whether it's people. There shouldn't be a situation that industries come in and they need to outsource labor from outside. When we have the capabilities, we should be able to utilize it and drive it in the same direction.
And to add to her point, while we are doing a research, we realize that whatever Make in India campaign as such has done is good. The results are positive. Why? Because the Nomura report suggested that $34.9 billion of FDI happened last year. And this is the highest in the world. And that was a sea change from what used to happen earlier. So the takeaway from here is that the process that is being carried out by the Make in India people is correct. We need to sustain that. Over top of that, we need to change the mindset and tell them to join our transformation as we India collectively transform at all facets, be it skill, be it labor, be it the transparency, be it the easier, more reform, simplified policies.
Then be going out to, because when you talk about amending archaic labor laws, for instance, it's not something that the investor can change. Yes. It's not even something that the central government can change, because these are state subjects and each individual state government will change the labor law as they like. So who is your communication then going to address when you talk about we need to change the labor laws, we need to encourage more skills development and so on and so forth? Should it be focused more on internal communication, i.e., peer pressure on states and on the center and so on and so forth to actually get your act together? Or should it actually be external communication when you're trying to pitch the India story?
We want to communicate firstly to the investors outside. It's about the global investors who are going to invest in India. For that, we had two things. One, awareness about Make in India. Not everyone is aware about Make in India. A large considerable population is getting aware. Second thing is making them invest in India. These are two different things that we handled in this promotion campaign. Our promotion campaign is not for the internal communication but the external communication to the stakeholders.
The crux here is to make the manufacturer investors realize the value add that they're giving. So the value add proposition is different for the external communication and the internal communication. For the external manufacturer investors who want to come in and invest in India or manufacture in India, we will tell them that look, we have the demographic dividend advantage. We have the advantage in terms of the cheapest and high skilled labor. The labor scaling process has started, and we will be able to reap benefits out of it, and we will be able to provide all the raw materials that you require. For the internal communication, as I talked about transformation, the transformation here, while doing the research again, we realized that what happens in the US is that the sense of actually buying a product, the core reason, more of it are borderline patriotic. It's about having to buy a product in your country. That is not there in India. In India, we talk about a Peter England or a John Player. The reason the names are anglicized is that the mindset, the perceived benefit of quality that we feel is derived from an international brand
and not from an Indian brand has to go if we have to progress and if we have to sell the product that is made in India for India.
I'm going to quickly call on stage my colleague and good friend Anant Rangaswamy, who's been associated with Lessons in Marketing Excellence quite closely, editor of Storyboard, and he's going to take us through an interesting panel discussion.
So if I can have Sunil, Priya, Samir and Sanjeev to come up, we'll do a small panel discussion on Make in India. Thank you all. And I'm going to start with Sunil. The reason is Sunil has been working on Make in India from the day it started. And last few days I've experienced that entire ministry is right now a beehive of activity. Yeah. Let's share with us a little bit of the energy that's going through the Make India initiative.
So in the beginning it was just his energy, right? And then luckily we also have, officers like Atul Chaturvedi, who is the Joint Secretary. So he is also from the tourism days.
Right.
So they all know, like, when we put a team together or an idea like this, how we can, bring that energy out and just do things at that scale.
Right.
So that really helps. So it was not just Mr. Khan to start with. So there was a second person. Then I've seen, like, in a week's time from the launch, the energy in Udyog Bhavan just changing.
Right.
So from the day of the launch, I think everyone has been working pretty much 24 hours. And the most important thing is quick decisions. So that you don't get in regular corporate sector, right? So like an idea like a Make in India week, it would take months and months and months of presentations and discussions to, here it is like in 10 minutes.
Right.
So that's a speed of understanding of the idea and understanding of the scale and quality,
Sanjeev, Unilever, Hindustan Unilever, has got huge vested interest in the success of Make in India. And like you said, 98% of your production is made in India, consumed in India, made for India. So what is your expectation of how Make in India, if it becomes what all of us hope it will do for you and your company?
If I look at it from a lens of India, from the country perspective, I think what Make in India should help us do is differentiate ourselves. I think as we progress on this journey, India will have to bring out their core proposition. What will India stand for when it comes to Make in India? Because you can't be good in everything. Remember that.
Right, absolutely.
There's also this incredible idea of jugaad and the whole thing about low-cost innovation. I'm just adding to Sanjeev's thought on the innovation, and I think it's really critical. The one thing that differentiates India and is really important to the world today is low-cost innovation. And
Can you give us some
so the whole idea of jugaad, the whole idea of in times of, where you need to find, the simple idea of what our poorest consumers do in this country is they find innovative ways and innovative solutions to otherwise very expensive thoughts. So just everything around, what the possibility around solar power, wind power. I'm saying there is just incredible possibilities for India to be a low-cost innovation destination.
So Samir, one of the teams interestingly brought up the concept of nation branding, which is very, very dear to Sunil as well. So what do you think of that? Did you wish they had gone a little deeper into exploring what the nation brand India could be and how it could be perceived internationally?
This whole idea of creating in India, because I think how we market the idea of India, I don't think we have come to the final solution yet. And I think we have campaigns like Incredible India, we have a Make in India idea, but I feel there is now a certain acceptance and pride in what Indianness is about that I think has a lot of power outside. And I think if I combine it with the fact that I actually think China is a very aspirational example. Because it's fashionable to sort of denigrate China, but the fact is the Chinese have helped bring about the biggest change in the history of the world in the pace of the number of people they brought out of poverty.
Right.
And that is what I think is why I would do Make in India, because manufacturing is the way to get people out of poverty. So that's for us. but then sort of creating this idea of India and marketing it. I think in the end, like we often talk about, Anant, about functional and emotional propositions. I think we first, like Sanjeev said, need to have the functional proposition pinned down.
And defined sharply.
Yeah, like what is it? The world's best engineering talent at the world's most competitive cost. What is that functional proposition? And then I think the emotional thing comes a bit later on top.
Thank you. Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev. Now I'd like to invite on stage a very special guest, Minister of State, Independent Charge for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, as well as Minister of State for Finance and Corporate Affairs under the Ministry of Finance. She's also the Minister responsible for the successful kickstart of the Make in India campaign. Please welcome Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman. Ma'am, can you please have it?
We've been talking about Make in India from the point of view of changing the mindset, bringing in and recognizing new processes, ensuring that a newer infrastructure comes into place through digitization and better infrastructure for those who want to make in India, and above all, opening up newer sectors. So the entire Make in India campaign is about these four things. And from the government, it's more emphasis on changing the mindset, looking at government, looking at itself as as a facilitator rather than a regulator, for which we are looking at bringing down a lot of regulatory work that one has been doing. That's why self-certification takes importance. I'm sure a lot of you all will say, oh, well, it's still not grounded. Still a lot of inspectors are coming around, or still a lot of paperwork is expected to do. But we are moving forward and we are taking states on board. And I'm happy to say that the interaction that we've had with the states gives us a lot of hope, because there is not even one state which has said, you're treading onto my terrain, why are you advising us, we know better. No, none of that. In fact, the first round, as you're all aware, we had identified nearly 99 different things which states will have to do so that we move towards an ease of doing business really. And we had given them a deadline, varying deadlines for varying items under the 99 categories. And by June 30th, 2015, we wanted them to complete all the 99. Many of them did, and that is why when the ranking happened on ease of business, states which you didn't expect to be on the first 10, you had many of them coming up there. So we are keeping the momentum on this so that Make in India from the point of view of government is facilitated and entrepreneurship gets its due.
All right, I would also like to invite on stage to join ma'am Sanjeev Mehta, Dinesh Bidappa, the Executive Director for Human Resource for Hindustan Unilever, and Shireen Bhan to hand over the prizes to the teams. Please, can we have you on stage? And the much awaited moment of the evening. We've obviously seen three teams present here today. And can we have all three teams come and join us here on stage? Awesome. Okay. So the second runner-up gets a grand cash prize of 2 lakh rupees, super stylish fossil watches. And the team taking this home is IIM Indore. Big round of applause for IIM Indore. Now the first runner-up gets 3.5 lakh rupees fossil watches, and the winner, the ultimate winner, gets a whopping 10 lakh rupees and the watches. And after 20 weeks of traveling, over 11,500 participating students from all over the country, it comes down to this. The first runner-up is SP Jain, Mumbai. Congratulations. And that makes the winner of Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 7, FMS Delhi. I'm sure they want to jump on the stage, but they're being extremely dignified. All the teams to please join us on stage. I'd also like to call Priya Nair, Sunil and Anand to join us on stage for one final photo-op. So, how does it feel? Cliched question, but would love to know.
Cliched answer, I don't have any words.
You don't have any words. Did you expect it? Because, I mean, it was a very close contest, I can tell you that, with SP Jain.
We were very satisfied with our performance, but then, obviously, we were hoping for it. I would say that we were hoping for it.
But the way the question and answers were going, were you still hopeful after that, or?
I think before the presentation we were doubtful, but afterwards we were very confident.
Awesome. Well done, guys. Well done. Congrats. Okay, so that's it. We'd also love to thank our jury for taking time out from their busy schedules and, gracing us this evening. I'd like to thank our sponsors for this season of Lessons in Marketing Excellence that was brought to you by CNBC TV18 and Hindustan Unilever Limited. Many thanks to our time partner Fossil. That's a wrap on this year's edition of Lime Season 7. Some wonderful marketing solutions, great case studies, glimpses of beautiful campuses across the country, and a great learning experience for all. Until next year, from the entire team of Lessons in Marketing Excellence, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.